Manchester United and Atlanta closing in on an agreement for Rasmus Hojlund, with talks reportedly advancing at a decent pace at this moment in time. Package of over 60 million euros is what's being reported by multiple outlets. Hasn't played in a friendly game against Bournemouth for Atalanta this afternoon, but has been present, report suggests, waving farewell, Darren Ambrose, to his teammates.
I mean, more often than not, that means he's going to leave. But we've seen it before.
If you're waving bye to someone, that's normally...
We've seen with Caicedo.
That's why you're paid the big money, Darren Ambrose.
That's why I'm paid the big money. But we've seen with Caicedo, haven't we, like last season? We've seen with a few others when they say bye.
You can wave and then come back and
then
say
come
hello.
back.
Right,
but it looks like the deal's almost done, to be honest. There's an exclusive for you.
Let's talk with Giancarlo Rinaldi, Italian football expert, writer for Football Italia. Giancarlo, very good evening.
Good evening.
Appreciate your company. What's this boy all about? Rasmus Hojlund, 60 million euros, a package around that sum. I mean, his numbers are not breathtaking, but he looks a talent.
Yeah, he's a tasty prospect. I think that's what you pay for now. And I don't think Atalanta would let him go for, a cut price. They're not a club that they're a well-run club. They're not forced to sell. They don't need the money as such. But equally, I don't think they've never been a club to stand in the way of a player if they want to go. And I think Hojlund seems a good fit for the Premier League as well. His style of play. So they're turning a decent profit. They signed him for about 17 million euros last summer. So it's not a bad piece of business. If I could sell something for about 3-4 times the price within the space of a year, then I think I would do it. It's a bit of a no-brainer for them. So I think they're kind of resigned to losing him, and it's just a question of getting the best deal that they can. 9
Serie A goals last season in I think 20 starts. That's the numbers I've got in front of me. What kind of striker is the Danish international? Giancarlo, is he a good fit for United? Is he a good fit for what Erik ten Hag would expect?
I think so. I mean, I think so. I think he's a good target. He's also pretty good with his feet for a biggish guy. And he's 20 years old. He's on the up. It's easy to play the kind of name game, Haaland, Hojlund. He'd almost confuse the two, but I don't think that's not fair to him, because, as you say, the numbers are not breathtaking. But I think under the number, you read the performances, which have been good. I've watched them a few times, and there's a buzz about him. When he gets the ball, he's ready to take on his man. He's ready to kind of attack the penalty box. He's a good target. As I say, when Duvan Zapata got injured, he stepped in and nobody really looked back. He looked a good player. He didn't score particularly against any of Serie A's bigger sides. I think Monza were his favourite victim, a couple of goals against them, and the rest of the teams he scored against tended to be more teams in the bottom half of the table. But it just attitude really was what struck me watching him. He had a really refreshing attacking attitude. It wasn't a great season for Atalanta, but he certainly stood out as a prospect, a player with a lot of zest for the game. And I think that's it looked to me that was something maybe that Manchester United lacked, that kind of player last season. And they signed Weghorst as a sort of front man, but he certainly looks a step up on that. It's certainly in terms of potential. Obviously Weghorst is a more tried and tested player, but he looks like there's he's already good, and there's a lot of room for improvement as well.
I mean, Giancarlo, you said that 6'3". You said he's a good fit for the Premier League. His physicality is one of the main reasons. We've also said he's not prolific. He wasn't prolific last season. He was for Denmark. He was prolific, 6 in 4, I believe, last season for Denmark. So why do you think, being a prospect, Manchester United need a centre forward ready to go, in my opinion.
To hit the ground running.
He's a prospect. Why do you think they're looking at Hojlund as opposed to other forwards around Europe?
Well, they would know better than I, but as I say, I think there's just that buzz of excitement about him that, and you don't want to, there's not that many players.
PSG interested as well, Giancarlo.
Yeah. No, that I saw that they were talking about a potential player and cash deal, which obviously, if you can fill the gap when a player's leaving, that that would be interesting. But I think Atalanta just want to get the deal over the line quickly so that they've got money to then reinvest, and have time to reinvest it, because it's all well and good selling one of your prized prospects, but if it happens too late in the transfer window, there might be nothing left. Whereas now, I think if they do it relatively soon, relatively quickly, then I think that Atalanta have been historically a club that's been good on the transfer market. They bring through their own young prospects, and they've also got an eye for the kind of undervalued players in Europe as well, and they tend to catch them early and sell them for a good profit. And this would be another case of that. So yeah, I mean, it would be a gamble certainly for Manchester United, because he hasn't done it in a big league yet, but he just has the look of a player that's ready to me, and if you're good enough, you're young enough, or whatever way round it is, I think he has that feel about him. There's some players in Serie A, I would say, but he looks like he could cope with the different league quite well, quite quickly, and that could be a real bonus for Manchester United.